Well, on the one hand, we're talking about industrialization. On the other, we're talking about marketing. After getting the product out, I guess it's marketing. That's why we're speaking with a tech product marketing professional who's right here in the studio, Oluwatoyin Mohammed. Hi, Mr. Mohammed. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Hi, good afternoon. It's really nice to be here.
Good to have you here. So, the minister there was just talking about International Women's Day, which is on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, let's celebrate ourselves with the women.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but when we look at your industry, which is fintech marketing and all of that, do you have a lot of female participation there?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think even way beyond the fintech industry, I think in recent times the tech industry um, has a lot of female participants now, and it's a breath of fresh air because I mean, if we go back 10, 15 years ago, that wasn't exactly the case. You see a website developer, you see a tech product marketing person, a product manager. It's always the men. But now, go to any tech company, it's highly likely you're going to see women leading the charge, and also it's just really, really refreshing to see.
But what does it mean? Does it mean that women were getting educated all this while, or is it just the passion has gotten into the women, or is it because it's now very lucrative?
So I think for me, I would say perception, right? I think in the past, there was this perception people had about the tech space, or it was very difficult. It was very, you had to be like a core engineering guru to get in. But over time, with a lot of information being available to people, and people being able to actually go online and learn, it became more accessible. So right now, everyone just feels, okay, if I want to get into tech, if I want to become a developer or whatnot, I can just go on YouTube. I can go on Coursera, I can take courses, and I can, learn the ropes. So I think the perception has switched a little, and people now know that it is not as difficult as it used to look in the past.
What are some of the other trends that we see in the fintech marketing on the continent?
So at the moment, I think Nigeria and Africa at large, we are still, in as much as, yes, fintech has actually broken a lot of ground, I would say that we still have a huge population of unbanked and not exactly the most financially literate people, which is why a lot of fintechs are keen into the trend of actually trying to educate and bank the unbanked. So, I mean, I would explain. I worked on a product recently, and this product was a payments platform that was actually meant to have, people able to remit their micro pensions digitally. So, I mean, for a product like that, we know that when it comes to mandatory pensions, people who work 9 to 5s, they have access to their mandatory pensions. But people who don't have 9 to 5s, the regular market women, they were exempted from this. They didn't have any form of safety net. So we worked on the product, and that product made it so easy for, the unbanked, the people who don't exactly, quite a number of them don't even have bank accounts.
Do we know why it does seem, I mean, you would have thought that by now, this day and age, everybody has a bank account, everybody has a BVN and all of that. Do we know why it seems slow?
Yeah, I feel like the barrier for entry is still a bit high.
Really?
Yes.
Like which requirement? Because now you don't need money.
Yeah.
You understand, to open an account. The fintechs make it even easier.
Yes, the fintechs.
You can use your phones, and then
absolutely.
you don't need to go to any physical bank or anything like that. So what would have thought that?
So it's a work in progress, and it's better than it was a few years ago. As of right now, just like you said, the fintechs are doing a fantastic job of actually bridging that gap. Because, for example, before, if you want to open a bank account, whether you are a 75-year-old woman or whatever it is, you would have to leave your house to go to the bank. But now that is not the case. Unbanked people can easily go to the POS agents to even open an account. It is that straightforward now. So now that is still in progress. It is being done already, but it's still a work in progress, which is what I'm saying. It's where the fintechs are channeling their energy into right now. And I think in a year, 2 years, 5 years, we're definitely going to be much, much, much better than we are currently at.
So this makes it difficult for someone like yourself when you talk about uh, tech product marketing
Yeah.
and all of that, because how do you reach these customers or potential customers if they are not anywhere in your space?
Yeah, so which is why the tech marketing space goes beyond just, trying to reach people through, the digital channels. You have to be ready to actually, do the legwork, which is what, I mean, agency marketing, agency banking is also a part of product marketing, right? I mean, trying to foster partnerships with foot soldiers. Now, these foot soldiers are people that the regular market women, market men have trust for. So it is then easy for them to go to these people, whether it's money they want to transfer, whether it's an account they want to open. These people are the ones that then get to do the footwork for people like us. We give them all of the everything they need, right? Everything they need to actually educate people, to speak the language that these people actually understand. Everything will be provided to them, and they will be able to disseminate this information. So that is the tactic that we're still using. Of course, besides localizing brand messaging right now, brands that are putting out commercials on radio, on TV,
In indigenous.
exactly, trying to let these people know that, look, getting involved in actually, in financial services is not rocket science. The Azure that you people used to do back then, all of that has now been digitalized. So you're not doing anything different from what you used to do. We are just basically just modernizing that aspect for you. So, I mean, that is the way that we are going. And another key problem that we get to face is the trust problem, right?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you because those women trust their jaw system. They see the individuals every day come and collect
Absolutely.
the 100 naira and the 200 naira, and when they need it, they talk to those people. But your app can go, your app can go off, as your phone can crash, and and all those risks they actually challenge.
And I would even say that, even for the trust aspect of things, it's not limited to these people. I mean, for someone like myself, a lot of times, sometimes maybe I'm trying to move money from one app to another, and then the money gets stuck.
Yeah, it did happen this week with a major traditional bank.
Exactly. So that happens a lot. So where the marketing team or a product marketer will then come in to buffer that type of situation is to ensure that there is no communication gap. I mean, it's very important. We're talking about money. That is how to build trust, right? Ensuring that once there's an issue, the issue is communicated in the language that people understand. And when the customers are then trying to reach out, maybe via social media or whatnot, there are people on the other end answering them promptly, letting them know that there is no problem, your money is safe and intact. There's really not much you can do beyond that, right? And I feel like, to a large extent, we're actually moving in the right direction. Where we are now isn't where we were 5, 10 years ago, to be very honest.
Yeah,
So,
that's obvious. But where do you see us in the next maybe 3 years, 5 years? You talked about communication now. Perhaps there are more innovations that can be used for that to increase the trust and lead to more adoption. What innovations do you think can be introduced?
So, I mean, as of right now, I know that a lot of fintechs actually have partnerships in place with telcos, for example, to ensure that there are active USSD codes. Because at the end of the day, we talked about these unbanked people. Besides the fact that they are not that financially literate, there's also the economic situation of things that doesn't exactly have a lot of these people have access to digital hardware, that is, smartphones and the likes. But they still want to enjoy these services, right? So with partnerships like that, it's easy for them to, just use their USSD code to whether they want to transfer money or whatever it is with whatever phone that. So in that case, for the demography that are not the most digitally literate, that works perfectly for them.
What about costs? Because, I mean, the issue of bank charges,
bank charges
is coming up again.
I know. That is a bone that just never really leaves our necks, because I know that most of the fintechs, when they launched, they really tried. I mean, they tried to ensure that, oh, okay, you're making transfers, it's zero charges. Quite a number of them still do it right now. some of them
with
even,
some conditions
yes,
attached.
with some conditions attached. Yes, yes, absolutely. But they've even had to infuse these conditions because the central bank has just, placed some. So they just have to. But at the end of the day, I think no matter what the cost implication is, I think it's very important that brands are transparent with whatever cost implications there are to their customers. Because in my opinion, I feel like if, of course, we all know the way the economy is, we know the way the landscape of the country is. If a certain amount of money is being taken out of my money for certain reasons, and you guys are communicating, letting me know that, okay, it is not us, right? It is based on, our licensing, this and that. I think to a large extent it buffers, because at the end of the day, I mean, if you want to transfer money from Kano to Lagos, you cannot put your money in Ghana, must go and say, I want to go and, you definitely